Is it necessary for you to have an open house to sell it? Find out. Hey everyone, welcome to Minneapolis Living. I'm Nick Sundahl with Akedah Homes of Keller Williams Classic Realty Northwest. Before we get to whether you should have an open house on your brand new listing, please hit the subscribe button. While you're there, ring the bell so you're alerted every time I upload a new video on Tuesdays and Fridays. I'm going to make one thing very clear about holding your house open for the general public. If it's the listing agent, the person who's representing you in your transaction and the sale of your home, then there are two reasons why that person is holding it open. Number one, it's to generate leads for additional business. That's right, they are looking for additional business to grow their business. Now, this isn't necessarily a bad thing because the second reason you hold that open is to get as many eyes as possible on your property. So their goal is to sell the house, obviously, and that's the first goal when it comes to your property and representing your best interests. But when they hold it open, that usually means strangers, neighbors that are potentially selling, or maybe even the potential buyers out there and they're unrepresented. But ultimately, they're looking to grow their business by holding it open and gaining more leads. Now, of course, by holding it open, you do generate some word of mouth. If you get those kind of eyes on your property, mainly your neighbors or tire kickers, if you will, they find this house. If they find it attractive, they might know somebody that does, in which case it can help sell the home. Now, before you decide to have that open house, you want to have a discussion with your realtor and find out whether it's a seller's market or a buyer's market. Because in a seller's market, it's much less important for you to have that open house. The reason being is, in a seller's market, there are more buyers than there is inventory. And it's very likely that your pre-qualified buyer, the person who's likely to buy your home, is already represented by another agent, in which case they have access to this property immediately as it goes on the market. So having the open house doesn't necessarily mean you're going to find that buyer immediately. But like I said, there is a chance, chances are in a seller's market, that buyer is already represented, they're already pre-qualified, and they're going to be looking at that house with a private showing. Now, if you're in a buyer's market, you definitely want to have hold an open house. Not only will it get the most amount of eyes on your property, but it's the best way to showcase it because people do have to walk through a property before they decide to buy it. Very rarely, almost impossible to have a buyer write an offer sight unseen just from photos or perhaps an online listing video. They really want to make sure they can go in there, see it, feel it, touch it, what have you. So in a buyer's market where there's much more inventory and you're really searching for that buyer, having the open house specifically with your neighbors so they can spread the word of a home that is special and how great the neighborhood is can go a long way in getting your house sold, not only in a timely fashion, but also for top dollar. Now, deciding to have an open house can be really stressful if you have kids or pets that you need to clear out of the home. And not only that, but get your house in perfect condition or in top-notch condition and then be away from the home for 3 or 4 or 5 hours. That can be a kind of a difficult thing to do on any given Saturday or Sunday. But if you decide to not have the open house, make sure your realtor has a marketing plan set in place. Maybe they do open house videos, such as this one. Perhaps they advertise the listing on all their social media accounts. But make sure that they have another way to market the property that isn't in a traditional manner that can get the most eyes on your property. Because that's the only way it will sell, not only for top dollar, but in the quickest amount of time. So let's answer the question, do you need to have an open house? The answer is no. You don't need to have an open house, but honestly, you should. It gets the most amount of eyes on your property. It's a good way to market it. We have so many tools at our disposal these days, whether it's social media marketing or print marketing, mailers, door knocking, what have you, that having the open house not only spreads your property word of mouth, but it gets it out to the masses, and that gets you top dollar in the shortest amount of time possible. And ultimately, that's any seller's goal. Are you considering a move? I would love to speak with you. I'll even buy the coffee. You can call, text, email, slide into my DMs if you so choose, but honestly, I would love to hear from you. This is Minneapolis Living. I really appreciate you watching, and I'll see you next time.